My first guest has been one of the most recognizable faces in American homes for the last 30 years.
I'm Joan Lunden from Fair Oaks, California, and this is my daughter, Jamie. Good morning, America. Here in front of the palace, it just seems like people do not want this to end.
Still not very much happening out here in front of the Capitol this morning, but of course maybe that's because it's too below. From London, I'm Joan Lunden. Oh, and finally the day is here, the wedding day.
Stockholm is going to be our host city for the next 5 days. First stop, making the rounds with Holland's most famous and unique mailman.
Well, since hosting Good Morning America, she has kept herself very busy, hosting several television shows, writing numerous books, as well as being mom to 7 kids. That may be the biggest challenge of all. We're thrilled that she found time to talk to us on this Mother's Day weekend. Please welcome Joan Lunden. Hi, Joan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. So nice of you to come.
I'm just missing T-ball.
You have 2 sets of twins.
Yes, they're 5 and almost 7.
My gosh, it must sound like a jet airplane in your house.
The
sometimes.
decibel is a little high, but it's great fun. Great, great fun.
You know, I don't sense at all that you miss the daily grind of getting up at 2:30 and 3 o'clock in the morning to do early morning television anymore.
20 years. Sometimes I look back and say, how did you do that? How did you wake up at that time and have 3 kids? I'm not sure how I did it, but with mirrors.
You wrote the foreword of this book, Chicken Soup for the Soul. And this is one called Thanks, Mom. Everybody's familiar with this series, but this is specifically for mothers, 101 stories of gratitude, love, and good times. And in that foreword, you talk about your own mother and what a powerful influence that she was for you.
You know, I think that what she gave me were positive affirmations every day, all day long, that I was going to do great things. She used to say, the word can't is not in our dictionary, nor is the word impossible. And when you hear that over and over, that you should expect great things of yourself, that you should go out and that you can do anything that you want, I think it becomes part of your fabric, really. And
you really had to, I guess, find some power from your mother. I've read the tragic story. Your father killed in an airplane crash that you, your mother, and brother would have been on, but for minutes of arriving to the airport late.
Yeah, that was back in the days before cell phones. And my dad, we'd just gotten a brand new plane. He was an avid private pilot in addition to being a doctor. And he wanted us to go, and my mom said they shouldn't miss school. Then, of course, she changed her mind, a woman's prerogative.
That never happens, Joan, a woman changing her mind. I've never heard
And she came and picked us up, but you couldn't call ahead in those days.
Yeah.
So as we got to the airfield, his plane was lifting off, and we waved goodbye, and that was the last time I ever saw him. He crashed coming back from a big cancer convention down in Southern California. We lived in Northern California. And I always thought that I would grow up to be a doctor. You know, everywhere we went, people would stop us and say, thank you, you saved my wife's life, you brought our babies into the world. And when you hear that, you want to do the same thing. But I then went to work at a hospital. I found out I wasn't cut out for stitches and scalpels. It was not going to happen.
But through that time, you were 12 years old when that happened, and your mom had to go back to school, essentially become the breadwinner of the family. What a remarkable sense of resilience on her part to just suddenly say, okay, we're not going to let this knock us down.
And I'll bet you at the time, because my mama had always been a stay-at-home mom, and now all of a sudden here she was thrust in the forces of working moms, and I think she questioned herself a lot as to, you know, am I doing the right thing? And really what I got from that was a sense of resilience, a sense of perseverance, and she found a way to go out and put a smile on her face so that she could come home and have a happy, they called her HAP. It was short for happy.
Wow.
And that to me, and the idea of never holding a grudge, life's too short, and what when they brought this series to me, this book, I started reading through all these stories, and it's not an educational book that tells you how to be a mom. They're from the heart stories, and people are talking about the things that their moms did that shaped their character, and they really are the most mundane little things during the day. The picking up the garbage and putting it in the trash can starts to teach respect for your environment, and you teach your children charity, and you teach them respect for others and compassion through the tiny things you do, and also how you conduct your own life.
And your mom had a little political activity going on. There was a group of ladies in California back during the 60s
The redheads for Reagan.
And your mom was one of them.
Yes, and she still has that red hair at 91 years old.
Oh, what a precious story. Joan, stay with us. We're going to talk about what Joan is up to now, and it's pretty amazing. It's healthcare. It's stuff for your home. And there's a new thing launching this week. I just want you to stay around so you find out what it is, because it's going to happen this week, and you better learn about it. And you will when we come back. More with Joan Lunden.